Yes, again, YouTube. Hope all is well out there. Hey, this one really, this is not specific to this vehicle. Now I'm working on a '06 Toyota Sequoia. I actually like these vehicles, Toyota. But this is really just advice to my mechanic friends out there. Um, Whenever you're gonna work on a vehicle, whenever you're doing really any amount of work, but being mindful of the type of work you're doing, cover your tracks. And one of the things I do in covering my tracks is I do a health report before I do any major work on the vehicle. And in fact, this is it right here. What I'm doing, that's an initial scan, and I usually report it at that as that. And it just depends on what you use. I mean, if you guys write these codes down, that's fine. But in my case, I'm gonna be able to do a report right there, and I save it. And in this case, usually note it as initial scan before any work was done. That's usually how I write it up. Because what happens, I mean, check this out. There's a history code. I mean, history albeit, but code nevertheless. The work I'm doing might have triggered that code. There's a leak on the water pump. So if the coolant probably got low enough, don't be deceived because it's a circuit code to think that it's some wiring problem or a faulty sensor. Sometimes if it's not reading, let's say the coolant went low enough and it just wasn't reading, it will set a circuit code against popular belief. You'll be surprised how they list some codes, calling them circuit codes. And I realize for a lot of mechanics that's misleading because a circuit code, you're thinking about the circuit. Feels like I'm going off on a tangent here. The point of this, guys, is to cover your bases, because what happens is if I put this vehicle back together, I'm gonna disconnect the battery. It's what I do when I'm doing any major work. I'm gonna be unplugging a bunch of stuff because I'm gonna be doing the timing belt and the water pump on this. But this is covering my bases because if I go in there, get this job done, let's say the mass airflow sensor starts acting up a week or so after the guy gets the vehicle back, what do you think he's gonna think is, man, G messed up something. You go back to the last whatever was done. Weird enough, sometimes it's even 2 years out. It's like, hey, there's a code on my vehicle. You worked on it 2 years ago. But anyway, right there, I'm able to show that there was a history code on the mass airflow sensor. I recorded it here before I did any work. And depending on the code, sometimes I'll even point it out when they come to pick up the vehicle or something like, hey, just to let you know there was a history code, and it's kind of a heads up. Especially if it's the case where I think it might come back, or sometimes if it's something for me to fix now, well, this is a good selling point where, look, in doing a health report on a vehicle, I saw that there was something up with this system, so while I have the vehicle, you might want me to check it out. Sometimes I don't get in the weeds like that, just to, not get in the weeds. So it depends. All that aside, what I'm saying, the key to this is to cover your tracks. Other things are like this, his tire lights on, that tire light on the dash. So that's that there. Your wireless door lock, tuner circuit. So, anyway, the point of this is to cover your tracks, is just so in let's say in a couple weeks or so, this guy don't come back here popping off the hip saying, hey, fix my stuff, you messed it up. And you can say, no, buddy. In that case, the pen becomes more powerful than the gun, or the knife, or whatever it come with. Case in point, protect yourself. I mean, hey guys, you leave it up to me, I'll ramble all day, but you know what, I gotta get to work. So thanks for watching. And again, this is key to my mechanic friends out there working on cars. You know, just cover your tracks, you know, cover your bases, protect yourself. You know, you don't want to be accused of messing up something that you didn't. All right, y'all be good.